let's start with the Lakers.
Okay.
I'm concerned.
I would hope so.
Yeah. But I'm more concerned in an existential way.
Yeah.
I'm concerned that we are on the precipice of something, a return to the Lakers' ineptitude persisting in a way. I think the LeBron AD era was more of a blip, just like a momentary interruption in the Lakers' struggles as a franchise, and not an indication that they're trending in the right way and that they know what they're doing, because everything now feels disastrous to me as a Lakers fan.
Yeah, we should mention you actually like the Lakers and care about them.
I do. I like the Lakers and I care about them. And I'm watching something that I didn't expect to happen. I'm watching guys not want to be Lakers. Since when was that a thing? Pete, like guys not, why'd you smile? You're such a fucking scamp. I say guys not want to be Lakers.
You brought up the Lakers. I let you.
You light up like it's Christmas. I hope everybody is watching. Bill gets so much joy in this. It's underhanded. It's devious. It's sinister.
Well, I think when you've had this many different teammates for the best two guys on the team over the last 4 to 5 years, and every time it doesn't work out, everyone else gets blamed. At some point, don't you notice that if you're playing for other teams? Like, oh, if this doesn't work out, I'm the fall guy. Like all the guys they signed last year are all now available in trades. D'Angelo Russell, Gabe Vincent, Rui, you can have any of them. And last year, they're like, oh, we like this. We're building around these dudes. And it just seems like they built this team. I talked about at the top about the Klay Thompson signing. It's like exactly what they don't need. Klay Thompson's not what they need. They need defense. They need to be able to defend and get stops, And so big picture, what you said, though, I think is the right take. Because you go back to Kobe tearing his Achilles and you look at the whole run of what happened with the Lakers, where basically they hit rock bottom. They made a bunch of draft picks. They had a really young team. You go back and look at the draft picks. They took Brandon Ingram too, which everybody agreed with, and they took Lonzo Ball too in 2017. And those guys didn't really turn out into what we were hoping. But trade everything for Davis once LeBron decides to sign. And then it's just been this uneasy balance of how do you build around these two guys that make 2 max contracts. It's really hard to do. You need to be super smart as a franchise. You need to draft well. You need to have some luck with free agent signings. And what you pointed out, I think, is the big fear. If you're not getting Klay Thompson, if you're not getting DeRozan to take less to sign with you, you're just going to be shopping in that Christian Wood bargain aisle. And that's where you are. You're with Christian Wood and Jackson Hayes and Cam Reddish.
Yeah, Cam Reddish.
That's where you are.
Yeah. It's funny. You said you got 2 max guys. You can't build around it. Meanwhile, your Celtics must have the money that Jim and them robbed from Fenway in the town because they're paying everyone.
Right.
Like they're going to sign pretty soon. It's going to come through the ticker that they've signed Pritchard for $40 million a year, 7 years guaranteed.
That seems low. No, but I mean, this is what happens with the big teams. Like the Warriors are paying out their noses forever when you have a chance to win a title with a core. I guess my question is, do you honestly in your heart think that the Lakers could actually compete for another title with LeBron at the age that he's in and Davis and then a bunch of different parts and JJ Redick as the coach and all of the good teams that are in the West and then the Celtics and Knicks and Giannis and Embiid in the other conference? Like, at what point do you just give up the ghost and say it's not happening? And maybe they know that it's not happening.
I don't think that they can. I think that the Lakers are, at this point, winning conversation piece championships. You stay relevant enough in LA and in sports media culture to keep the brand strong in hopes that in 5 or 6 years or some kind of way after LeBron is gone, because he's a relevance piece now. He doesn't really... He's still a great player, but building around LeBron James, I'm not sure wins you a championship now. You have never really been able to build around Anthony Davis to win a championship, and those guys still command not just so much money when we're talking about actual money towards the cap and stuff, but there's also a reputation salary cap There's a cultural salary cap. And guys take up space in that way as well. Now, normally when you have players that can take up that much space, you get it back on the court. But one of the worst situations you can be in any sport is to have a guy take up a lot of your cultural salary cap, your reputational salary cap, and he is not great on the basketball court, not one of the 5 best guys or one of the 3 best guys. Don't get me wrong, AD had a fantastic season. He really did. He had a fantastic season. He played great. Maybe one of his best years. But when you don't have that guy and he still demands that type of gravitas, he still has that type of gravitas in the league, it weighs everything down and it makes it hard for you to build around him and win.
I thought the Bronny thing was actually smart for them. It's the kind of thing you do when you know you're not going to win a title anymore. I thought it was smart for LeBron to say he would take less to get a free agent because the reality is those free agents probably weren't coming to them. So it looks like he's sacrificing, but who's he sacrificing for? Because he's not going to take less money to get Najee Marshall, right? He's thinking DeRozan, he's thinking Clay, people like that. But ultimately this next season, and I think the next couple are going to be about the father-son angle, which is pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
And whether Bronny can play at this level or not, we don't have a lot of evidence yet that he's going to be able to. I would say we have very little, but it's going to be cool. I think it's the kind of thing you need to do. It's like those last 2 Kobe years where it was like, hey man, we're not winning the title. This is the Kobe farewell tour. This is how it's going to play out. And Kobe's going to take a bunch of shots and people get to come and they get to see him in the home games. I don't know if LeBron is at that stage mentally, but I think you're gonna lose enough games to realize that's the stage you're kind of hitting. You're like, yeah, you're an 8 seed. Yeah, you're a 9 seed. That's where you are.
Yeah. So, those last couple of years, Kobe was really dragging it. Like his body was banged up. He couldn't do it anymore, especially at the level that we were used to seeing him doing. And you never were going to see Kobe wasn't going to bounce around to a bunch of teams. Kobe wasn't going to come off the bench. You weren't going to ever see that era of Kobe Bryant's career. That was not going to happen, right? It's not going to happen for LeBron James either. The thing with LeBron is he's a lesser version of LeBron, but it's still so good that you're flirting with it. You're getting your hopes up. You're thinking, well, maybe. But any other player that played kind of like what he like that his game resembled LeBron's game, he wouldn't be such a big deal. So you wouldn't have to think about him constantly like this, The thing with Bronny is interesting because I watched this clip a couple of days ago and it made me smile so big. It was a clip of a pop fly being hit to center in, I think, the King Dome.
Yeah.
And King Griffey Sr. is under it. He's got a bead on it. I'm sure you've seen this clip before.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, Junior flashes in front of him and grabs it. And then he laughs. And I'm thinking, oh my God, if you're both guys in that situation and if you're watching, how awesome is that, right? How fantastic is that to watch? Obviously, the difference is that King Griffey Jr. was probably the best baseball prospect in the world and one of the greatest players of his generation. So there's a difference there. So you see stuff like that, and it's part of the story of sports, and you want to see it. But if I'm being all the way honest, just someone that comes from humble beginnings, there's something about the Bronny thing that just bothers me. And I talked about it on Higher Learning. You guys can go listen to it there. But I'm not somebody who has selective views on nepotism based upon who it's favoring. Now, let me make a distinction real quick, and then we can get off this because I know it's a topic that makes everybody pissed off. It's one thing if I have a business, me handing that business to my children and training them is one thing. Sure, that's nepotism, but that's also getting them ready to navigate their inheritance. Like when people say, hey, the Jerry Jones gave the Cowboys to his kids. Well, they're going to get the Cowboys.
Yeah.
The Bus family is going to get the Lakers. So you're essentially teaching them how to run the team that you already own. Is that nepotism? Sure. But they're going to get the team, right? It's his team. This is different. And it just is. This is somebody utilizing their power to get their kid drafted I get it's the 55th pick, but in a spot that somebody else might have gotten drafted. That somebody else is going to have a harder road. That's not to say that Bronny's not going to be a good pro. That's not to say that Bronny wouldn't have figured it out in college if he was at a different school and made it to the NBA. I saw some video of him not too long ago. He looks strong, athletic. The jumper looks good. He might end up being a decent pro. But what I'm saying, I'm sorry, but this was wrong. As far as the ideals and the values that I live by, I didn't like it. And that somehow makes me, anti-cultural, or I'm hating on LeBron. I'm happy for them and happy for him. He's been through a lot. His body's recovering through a lot. Who knows how his season at USC would have been had he not had the issue that he had. But if I'm taking a step back and keeping it real, that rich boy shit, that's not the type of shit that I'm on. Like I've never been like those are the kind of guys that we used to be like coach's son that's starting in front of somebody and stuff. There's a cost to that, and I'm not like talking about. I've never fucked with that before, so like why would I start fucking with it now just because it's LeBron's kid?
The only thing I didn't get is it seems like he should have played one more year in college and had a proper college year at a certain level of competition to try to do really well at that level before he moved to the NBA. I don't understand how you go from high school basketball in LA to not really playing that much for 1 year in college to all of a sudden you're basically on the Lakers, but not really. Everything I know about the NBA is there's never practice time. It's a long schedule. You don't have a lot of time to work with the younger guys in the roster, and the G League becomes more important. So if the case is he's going to play in the G League and that'll be his experience, I get it. But I think it just would have been better for him to go to a college for 1 more year and just try to be an awesome guy in college first and then go to the pros. I just
What
think
I will say is this.
We watched this happen with Brandon Boston, who played at Sarah Canyon with him, where he just all of a sudden was on the Clippers. I thought he was talented, and they just let him go a couple years later because he skipped a step that he shouldn't have skipped.
Yeah, I will say this is the last thing I'll say. It's like I am really rooting for him, though. Seriously, I'm rooting for him for a lot of reasons. I've never not rooted for him. He's been around and on people's brains since he was in the 6th or 7th grade, which how positive that is, how that must affect a kid. I'm sure that can be great for a kid's psyche. Like we're growing up in front of everyone and stuff. But I desperately want him to succeed now, and like super duper hope that he succeeds, because not only do I want him to validate where he was picked, but watching him, how emotional he was when he was selected, everything he's been through. And just, you guys, people say what they want to say about LeBron James. He's an insanely dedicated father and family man. So I do want him to work out. I want it to work out for him, but I've never been a fan of stepping over somebody who was scrapping for it because of who your pops is. And I'm not going to start now.